Welcome to the American Institute of Healthcare Professionals video on challenging and confronting the client for change in counseling. And this is also for the American Academy of Grief Counseling as well. And this is our part 3 video on the basics of counseling. In video 1, we talked about listening and observing the client, which is basic attending skills. In the second video, we discussed good ways to respond and also bad ways that you do not want to respond in helping clients tell their story. In this one video, part 3, we're going to look at challenging the client to change and also, when necessary, confronting the client with various responses to change. All in the mindset of the fact that we are still not looking to judge our clients. Now, I think encouragement makes the counselor look more so as a coach, because coaches help bring the best out of individuals through good transformation and change. So counselors are a catalyst for change. So in that way, we are coaches. Like coaches, counselors transform the person. And the counselor identifies weaknesses like a coach and helps the client change into a better person. And the counselor does this, as Carl Rogers points out, with empathy and non-judgment. And the counselor in this regard presents options for change. Remember, the client is there to receive options. They're not there to be told what to do. A counselor does not necessarily dictate directions, but offers options. And as a coach, it helps the client or the person with those changes and with those challenges, and how to, when necessary, without judgment, empathetically confront and challenge. So first, let's look at challenging, and then we will go into confronting, and then we will look at change. So challenging, confronting, and change itself. So like a coach, a counselor looks to challenge their client with new thoughts for new behaviors and new beginnings and options. And this begins with, first, obviously, a trusted partnership based in empathy. Now, challenges themselves can help the client uncover his or her own strengths and also their very own resiliency. And like a good coach, a counselor can identify just through observation various weaknesses and strengths that are present within a client. And the counselor is able to, with patience and empathy, without judgment, able to cultivate these strengths and to also help strengthen the individual with their various weaknesses. The counselor also is able to help the client design a better future, to set goals, and to help the client reach those particular goals. A lot of these goal setting strategies are based in various positive psychologies where strengths are labeled and helping clients realize those strengths and how to reach those particular goals itself. So a counselor, according to Egan, helps clients tap into creativity. They help the client see the possibility of a different type of life. Now, one of these types of challenging and transformative policies is the GROW model. The GROW model was designed by John Whitmore, and it basically is an acronym for change. G represents the goal or what one wishes to accomplish. The R stands for the actual reality and where the client currently exists. The O stands for the options and what one can possibly do. And finally, the W stands for the will, or what one is willing to do to reach those goals. So it establishes where one wants to be, where one is, and how one is to get there and to continue to stay there. Clients are helped by their counselors to grow. Like a coach, it is never about bringing the player down, but always bringing the player up and bringing the best out of them. Now, there are various impediments to growth that can exist, and counselors need to identify these because these impediments can prevent growth and change within one's client. Many clients naturally come to counselors with self-defeating mindsets that include various biases about themselves, various values that are contrary to growth, beliefs or assumptions, or perceptions and worldviews that are negative to change and who they are. It might be also their self-image. They might be stuck and immobile to change due to their lifestyle. They might have fears of what might occur if they do change. They might be very egocentric and think they do not need to change. They might have various blind spots where they're unaware of something that is about them that needs to change, or they live in a chosen ignorance where they ignore what everyone else thinks about them and they only see what they want to see or wish to see. So this is where empathetic confrontation comes. We've challenged the individual, but now we have to sometimes confront without judgment. And Carl Rogers stresses empathy and non-judgment. These are common qualities and themes when we talk about Carl Rogers. And this is one that, again, displays itself when confronting. So the purpose of confrontation counseling is to remove damaging schemas or self-thoughts about someone and to present new options that can help the individual change. And that's what empathetic confrontation basically is. So counselors need to observe, notice discrepancies in the story of the client. They need to see hidden messages or hints or half the message to really know when the client really knows the real story. If we remember in video one, part one, we discussed their story. Well, sometimes the real story is a little bit different and they need to be confronted, the client, about this. Now, sometimes this can cause the client to become angry, so we have to avoid inflammatory terms. So it's about timing, and the art of counseling very much is about being able to time and how things are presented. And this is important in counseling and how the counselor presents a confrontation or a proposed change itself. Now, I think a utilization of summaries is an excellent way. So as you summarize what they are saying to you, as you summarize what is told and repeat it to them, you add a little bit to it. And one of the best ways to do that is a simple phrase, on the other hand. And the on the other hand phrase can present an opposing view in a very non-hostile way. It's just saying, well, on the other hand, this individual believes this. And it allows the individual, without being judged, to feel that an option is being put on the table and something for this client to actually think about that they might not have thought about before. And in the safety of the counseling session with empathetic confrontation, they're able to better think about this in a non-hostile way. Now, with this confrontation comes change, and there is a client change scale. It's called the CCS model. Now, many clients initially may not wish to change, and this could be a change through a variety of things, a worldview, a view of how they see themselves with others. It could be a substance abuse issue. It could be a person who has a temper and they don't see it yet and they needed to be empathetically confronted about it. So level one involves the individual usually denying the issue. I don't have a temper. And within this level, the story is obviously distorted and the client will look to blame others unfairly. And as a counselor, we're not there to judge, but we are to listen and we're there to respond and help transform and present to them various options of change that they can choose. So at level two, it consists more of the client bargaining and maybe a partial acceptance of the story. So the reality is finally beginning to emerge. The story is finally changing in a more true direction. Well, maybe I get mad every now and then, the individual might say. Finally, level three might emerge, which involves acceptance of this reality. The individual will say, I do have a temper, I have an issue, I do get angry at my wife and kids, or vice versa. Level four incorporates new solutions to make the story better. And this is where the counselor helps present various options on how an individual might incorporate a change with anger or incorporate a change with how they view themselves and others. Level five is the final level, and it refers to as transcendence and the incorporation of these into the new story of the client's life, where the individual is not only incorporating, but also living it on a daily basis, almost at a habitual level. Although, as counselors, we must be aware that sometimes individuals will still have signs of regression. So counselors play a key role in implementing these changes once the confrontation has successfully been completed. And in this way, counselors can help the clients formulate new ways to implement and grow. Some changes are first order with clients, while others are second order. And some are better to be first, while others sometimes don't benefit from first, but they might benefit from a secondary change. So we refer to first order changes as operational. It means that you're just adjusting to the current situation. You help the client monitor, cope, and fix, and you are treating simply the symptoms, the immediate prevailing issue that is occurring. The second order change are strategic, and they're more long term. You look to change the system, create, transform, and treat the causes of the issue itself. So it is much more deep in terms of creating a new situation instead of just fixing a current situation. Some cases, individuals benefit just from dealing with the problem on a day-to-day basis. Other clients might deal better with a complete operational change, and that's something that has to be looked at. So, in implementing these changes, then we look at, are we going to do operational or strategic? And in that process, we're going to set goals and put strategies and plans into motion. And we're going to implement this first or second order change. And again, the counselor, as a coach, is going to play a key role in helping the individual proceed forward in becoming this type of better person themselves. Now, in life coaching, you see a lot of goals that are set. A lot of individuals need help. Some individuals need time management as well. Where is my life going? Is a good way to look at it for them, and they don't know how to. They finally realize what is wrong, but they don't know how to get to where they need to go. So a counselor, like a coach, helps define goals to help this change if they need manifest. Some goals are short term and some goals can be longer term. But the counselor helps the client with these goals see a better future, set these goals, and achieve them through putting the plan in action. Now, it's important, like a coach, that the counselor ensures that these goals are realistic. They're not suddenly drastic and not achievable. So goals cannot be something that would be detrimental to the individual. So if an individual is going through weight loss and you give them a goal of losing 50 pounds in 2 months, that might be too much. Maybe a smaller goal of going for a walk every day and maybe not having seconds. These types of goals put into motion a new lifestyle that can later lead to this. So, like a coach, you want to give your clients the ability to achieve goals. And whether they're small or large, if one achieves, they feel good about themselves. There's a natural dopamine effect. So this helps the client feel more confident that they can achieve the larger goals as they proceed forward. The counselor helps not only set the goals, but to discover resources and strengths and support systems to meet those particular goals. And the counselor also helps create strategies and plans to ensure that they continue. So the client eventually is going to have the training wheels put off. They're going to have to find some resilience and some self monitoring to complete goals. Now, like all coaches, sometimes players fail, and a good coach is able to help the client, the player, get back onto his or her feet. So, counselors are still there even when goals are not met, and to help the person feel that just because one time you didn't do what you were supposed to doesn't mean that all the good work you put in needs to be thrown away. And that's a whole nother level of counseling itself. So in this video, video 3, we discussed the importance of challenging our clients to change without judging them, being empathetic, confronting when needed to transform those to pursue change, and how to help them reach those change through a variety of goals. And again, this all flows from the first 2 videos of basic attending skills and basic responding skills. Below is our grief counseling certification, as well as our Christian counseling certification. We do as well offer a variety of other mental health certifications in anger management, crisis counseling, spiritual counseling. Our phone number is 330-652-7776, and our email is info@aihcp.org. In addition to the Egan book, which was the skilled helper one, we also utilized a new reference today, the Ivy text. It's intentional interviewing and counseling. It's about facilitating client development in a multicultural society. So that's another good text to have, and I highly recommend if you're looking into really being better able, especially if you're a pastoral counselor and you don't have the clinical training, I really recommend ordering this textbook as well to help you in your daily work with your clients or those that you are trying to help. I'd like to thank you for listening and have a good day.